Okay, so I mentioned a lot of details about formulation because the formulation is typically the most difficult part to understand. I guess you all agree. So you need to try your best to eliminate anything that may distract people's attention. Try to eliminate everything that may make your formulation uneasy to follow. Okay, that's your job. And if you are able to do that job, you are going to do very good presentations. Okay, so that was your formulation. Now let's look at your results. So visualization obviously is very useful and important. For example, here, this is doing some kind of traveling salesperson problems. So if I do bad presentation, I'm going to list an order. Okay, I'm going to go to node 1, node 5, node 7, and then node 2, and then node 1, and then back to whatever. If I use some numbers here, that's not a visualization. If they are really locations, you would like to draw them on a graph so that people may immediately see what are you talking about and what's the route and whether they are intuitive or not. Okay, visualization is useful, but you just have limited space. Don't waste so much space and make this graph small, right? In this particular page, if I'm doing the presentation, the graph would be this large, and this sentence would occupy just this space. Okay? And this, in some sense, is a bad example. Okay? So here, the presenter is trying to list the solution. But if you list the solution in this way, basically it's just like you don't list anything because no one is going to read this solution, right? You somehow need to prepare them in a nice format, in a table, in a nice format, or you just summarize them. You never want to do something like this. If you don't want to talk about something, don't put them onto your slides. If there is something that you put on your slides, you should talk about them. Again, here are some sentences that no one is going to read. If you are writing a report, writing an article, sentences are useful. But if you are doing a presentation, don't do that. Okay? Here, a better way is to provide some table, provide some summaries, or even draw some charts to visualize the things. Here again is a good example. Basically, this is saying that, okay, I'm going to build something to cover some people in Taiwan. So this kind of visualization would be much better than some numbers that you may print from your Python console. Okay, don't just print a multi-dimensional list and copy and paste, or just print screen and copy and paste. Don't do that. That's not going to help your presentation. This kind of visualization is much better. Okay, so comparisons are always useful because you are suggesting a way to do decision making. You need to convince people that your suggestions, your decision making quality is better. So what's the comparisons that you may do? If you are suggesting something, you may compare your suggestion with traditional way of doing things. For example, here, this is one example showing that they want to create an app or tour suggestion so that when you want to go to some places, this app or this system is going to suggest you that, okay, first go here and then here and then here and then here, 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 and here. Then you may want to compare your suggested solution with, for example, the suggested solution, suggested tour that is made by the office. Okay, you may tell people why the things are different if they are different, and you may try to convince people that, okay, in this case you may earn more than the traditional solution. Compare your solution with some traditional solutions. That may help people know that, be convinced that, okay, your solution is indeed useful. We are almost there. Please, again, and again, be professional. You are making business suggestions. business suggestions can never be justified as correct. So you must be professional so that people accept your suggestions. So what do you need to do? Well, if you want to speak anything in English, be careful about pronunciation. For example, this is parameter, not parameter. This is difference, not difference. Okay, this is programming. Let me emphasize again. This is programming. This is not programming. So I was in the United States for 4 years. Every American, they call this programming. They call programmers. That's the right way to pronounce these two words. But every Taiwanese people, they call them as programming. I don't know why, but that's not professional. If you want to talk to professional foreigners, you need to tell yourself, you need to tell them that this is programming, not programming. Okay? This is called constraint. This is not constraint. This is inventory, not inventory. So I'm not going to list all the examples because this is not English course, but you need to be professional by not pronouncing things wrong. You need to use the right words in your writing. This is, for example, is abbreviated as E.G. comma. These 5 characters, one by one, is not EG, is not E.G, is not E.G, is not EG dot, is not EG comma, is E.G comma. If you don't write in that way, people know you are not professional. Especially it's not EX, okay? It's not EX. If I see EX on your final project presentation, you hate me, I hate you, everybody hates each other. Don't do that, okay? Be aware of your English spelling, be aware of your mathematical expressions, or maybe you want to be aware of the and the if you are using Chinese to do the presentations, okay? Be professional. Okay, here is one example, EX, don't do that. There's no space here, don't do that, all right? This is integer programming. Integer programming. If you have someone making the slides, that's good. Somehow, some other ones in your team should check all the writings, check all the spellings. It's not a very difficult job. If your team have 10 people and no one wants to check the slides for the slides maker, you are not considered as a professional team. Alright? Okay, so when you want to describe your model, examples are good, but don't talk too much about your data. Why is that? Because a set of data means a problem instance. But your solution is useful because it solves a problem. Whenever you enter one instance, it gives you a plan. You insert another instance, it's going to give you another plan, right? Your model is valuable because it is a solution. It's not just a report, okay? So you need to make sure that people all agree that you are solving a problem. You are not just solving an instance. Your model is okay. Your model can work even if the instance is changed. So don't talk too much about your data when you are doing the descriptions. Okay? For example, when you want to talk about one formulation, you may say that, okay, so for each day, we're going to blah, 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 and blah. That's general. Don't just say, okay, so for day 1, 30 units of products is going to be produced and then blah, 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 and blah. So don't talk too much about your data. You may do some parts to do examples, but don't do too much. Okay, don't do too much.